Hey Matthias, tomorrow the biggest exhibition on mobile robots will start in Stuttgart.
Yes, so that's really exciting. And the Logimat, that's the name of the fair, is just around the corner and it's filled with a lot of great opportunities and gold nuggets you could find out there. But you have to survive all of the sales stuff that will try to convince you.
Exactly. And how to find these gold nuggets will be the topic of our today's episode.
Automation Awakenings, your weekly dose of best practices for logistics automation.
Welcome back to the Automation Awakenings podcast and episode 9, which is a special one, not only because we have moved from a studio to a hotel room, since we are on a business trip at the moment, but also because in today's episode, we're going to talk about all of your tools, all of your questions you need to have a great and really successful day at a fair where you might be looking for new automation technologies or mobile robots in specific. And I remember the first time I met Oliver in his new role as an AGV AMR expert was actually at the Logimat a couple of years back.
True.
And Olli, maybe you can remind us on how you felt that very day.
Yes, I think one word can express my feelings very nicely, and this is overwhelmed, right? There were so many suppliers, so many salesperson, and they can talk, yeah. And I didn't know where to go, and I didn't know what to ask, and at the end, yeah, it was completely overwhelming.
Right. And since most of you guys probably don't have time to be there the entire 3 days and you want to make the most out of your day at the Logimat, we're going to make sure to equip you with the right questions, as we said, and also with the right preparations you might need to do before going there.
Yes, Matthias. So let's start with day zero, before going there,
Yeah.
right? Your preparation needs to start already then, because a lot of information is already available online. You can check the whole list of suppliers. You can have a look on their homepage and so on. And what I usually do now, yeah, I prepare a short list. Yeah, not too many, maybe a top 5, maximum top 10 will do it.
Yeah.
And with the top 3, I schedule appointments on the fair.
And you do this because?
Yes, because if you just pass by, sometimes it might happen that they will not have time for you. They have other customers at the booth, and then it will be very difficult to get them and to get the deep information you need.
Yeah. And I think that's a bit of Murphy's Law
Yeah.
that you find at fairs, that the moment you just want to take a look yourself, three sales guys will, just try to target you at the same time. And the moment you really need to talk to a sales guy, no one is available. So that's why I totally go with Ollie's approach. Do your preparation, make a short list, and book appointments with your top 3 providers you would like to check out.
Yes, absolutely. And what is also important, not plan your day with appointments only, because then you lose the chance to explore surprises and suppliers which were not on your list, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, this is also the nice thing about an exhibition. There will be suppliers from all over the world, and only by really just walking around and having a look, you might find one of these gold nuggets.
Exactly. So plan wisely, but leave room for surprises. So is that all for day 0? So do we
Yeah,
already move into day 1 of the fair? So you arrive 9 o'clock. It's super packed. You were fighting at the ticket machine to let you in at the scanner. So now you are already in, and you are walking towards the first booth that you want to visit. And what's the opening question when you arrive there?
Well, you are already confronted with a huge risk. You arrive at the booth, and there will be a very good, well-trained sales guy starting with the whole company presentation. He might show you slides and a lot of documents. And at the end, honestly, it's a waste of time because this is something for the work after the exhibition. You can get all these slides and documents via email later on. Please take the chance to get the really important information there. That's why my opening question is usually, what are your top 3 highlights which you are presenting today?
Okay, yeah, that's a very interesting one because that forces your contact or your host at the booth to move away from his well-established sales pitch path.
Absolutely.
Cool. Okay, so you have the opener. So he's presenting those 3 highlights. What do you do next?
Yeah, if you are still interested after these 3 highlights,
Yeah.
you might go deeper. And here it depends, of course, how well you already know the company. But what I like to do at the beginning, I would like to understand how mature this AGV AMR supplier is. And the best thing to find it out is the question, how many AGVs, AMRs are already running in the field?
Right. That's very concrete, and it gives you an idea on how big the customer base is, which then of course also provides indications on how mature the product might be.
Exactly. To even go a step further, I usually ask, where are these customers, and is it possible to visit them? So
Yes.
the best thing is to know if there are reference customers. That means at least there is somebody else who bought this device, who is, to some extent happy to invite also guests to show it.
Yeah, right. Because if they gonna disclose one of their top customers,
Yeah.
they will probably disclose because they are convinced that the performance is good and that this is gonna boost their sales process, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So you also ask for specific contacts. When you talk about the location of the contacts or the customers, do you use any indication there? I mean, does it matter to you if 90% of the customers are in China or 90% are in Europe?
This is crucial, of course. It depends on your footprint and where you would like to use the devices. Because it will not help you having an experienced supplier only in China, for example. Because the step from China to Europe is big. And I think it's a cool topic for another episode, actually. So I would take care of to check out the footprint of the supplier. Where are these customers, and how is the split between the regions? Yeah, for us coming from a multinational company, usually we split into at least Asia, Europe, and America.
Yeah.
And then we already see a tendency where we can use these devices.
Yeah, so when being in this, let's say, cluster of questions, I would also go with the question on how the service and support network looks like. So does this provider already have a footprint in Europe? Do they have more than a sales office in Europe? So are spare parts available in Europe because they have a warehouse here? Do they need to ship the spare parts from somewhere else? And also, how quick will I get these spare parts when I need them?
Yes, here I really like to confront the supplier with a real user story. Yeah, I ask them, okay, imagine we are now in our plant and the HV stopped, and I'm going there and it's just black.
Yeah.
What can I do? Yeah, because then the usual service and maintenance slide will not help the sales guy anymore.
Right.
Yeah, really, I would like to know it in a concrete way.
Yeah.
Am I calling someone? Is there an email, a ticket center, whatever?
Yeah.
And I want a concrete question. And honestly, many even already now cannot answer.
Yeah, and if they can answer, they already provide hints to you on whether you can really take this robot and use it in your environment. Because if you get the answer that the technicians have to travel from China, then of course that indicates that the lead times are really high, and you might need some extra security if you want to use this provider.
Same applies for spare parts. The spare parts must be somewhere near to you. Yeah, imagine you need a new sensor and it has to be shipped from China.
Yeah,
What they're doing in the meantime.
right. So another question I would go with in this context is whether the provider is CE certified, because that's a knockout fact. As I learned from Olli in one of the previous episodes, using mobile robots without a CE certification is basically against the law, right? At least here in Europe.
Yeah, that's actually also a pro question, because as we already dived into it a little bit, the CE certificate also means that all components are CE certified. And you can ask, can you show me all of the certificates and all the standards your devices are complying with?
Yeah.
Just a list, there are these ISO norms, EN norms, US norms, and it's a good question also to find out how well the salesperson knows his company and the devices.
Yeah. Perfect. So, I mean, we still stand at the boot because the answers are all promising.
Yes.
How about the price question? When do you bring it?
Yeah, I think now would be actually a good time, because if the price is way too high and out of my scope,
Exactly.
yeah, why should I continue? And of course, it's not a negotiated price, and you can still talk about it, but at least to get a feeling. And yeah, also the price topic, Matthias, you know it very well, is complex. Because what are you asking usually? How much is the device cost, the hardware cost?
Right.
And he will say, I don't know, 50K euro. But then you don't know how much is he charging for the project, travel costs, IT infrastructure costs, integration costs, and so on. And this is really a tough one. It's difficult to find it out on a fair.
Yeah.
At least I try two things. Yeah, I try to ask him what is an average price for a normal project, or I keep out the IT integration part.
Okay.
Because this is a black box. Every company has a different infrastructure, so let's keep it out. But at least I ask him, okay, think about your last 2-3 projects. How much should I pay at the end? For example, for 5 of these devices.
Okay.
And then you get closer to it at least.
Okay. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, a fair is not a place to negotiate prices in most of the cases. I mean, sometimes there's huge deals announced there, right? But they are already confirmed weeks before, just announced due to the marketing reasons. But don't waste your energy in negotiating prices at the fair. Most of the time, the people you're going to talk to don't have clearance to negotiate prices with you. And second of all, the day is simply too short to do that. So focus on really figuring out if you have a nugget, and then find out on how to dig it out, basically. Okay, so we talked about pricing. I would like to move into the software section, which is very dear to my heart.
Yeah.
Because as many of you listeners might know, here in Europe, we use the VDA 5050 communication standard to enable the orchestration of different AGV types and vendors on the same shop floor. And at least for us here in Europe, this is very important because we do not like to rely on one supplier, which necessarily needs to the situation that we operate different supplier on the same shop floor. And for that reason, the VDA 5050 standard and the compatibility of the vendor to the standard is very important. Because if it's not, then you might really put a big question mark behind him being your supplier.
So what's your recommendation then? I'm at the booth. I mean, okay, sure, I can ask, are you compatible with VDA 5050? And he will say yes.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, that can't be all, right?
No. That's pretty much the same as with the price. So you have to dig a bit deeper. And my question is always, how many of your AGVs, AMRs are already steered using the VDA 5050 communication standard? If they tell me 0, then the previous answer on whether they're compatible might be questionable. But if they tell you, oh yeah, we have these 25 bots already, being steered or orchestrated, that's already a good sign. And the third question I would take to dive even deeper is basically to ask which of the master control providers, so basically the software providers who do the orchestration using the VDA 5050 standard, have them onboarded already.
Okay.
And then you're getting closer to an answer. But of course, still, I wouldn't say that's a guarantee, but it really provides you a little bit of understanding on how deep this particular vendor is already involved in the usage and the steering of their bots using the VDA 5050 standard.
From your experience, are these salespersons capable of answering these questions, or what is happening?
So, I would say. So the VDA 5050 question is tricky because it's quite techy, right? And your company's strategy might be that you want to be open to it, but if you haven't done it yet, then there is still a quite big mismatch, I would say, between what I would like to know as a potential customer and what they can provide me as an answer. And I think we've been there already with some of the suppliers who do not yet have bots that are using the standard, but it's not a total knockout criteria, right?
All right. So is there something else to software or only VDA standard?
Well, if you want to know, you can also talk to them about their own fleet management system. So basically the software that is orchestrating the bots of this particular supplier. And you could deep dive into, the question whether they have intelligent order management in this tool. And what is very important actually, so it's very good you're asking, I would always ask if me as a user, if I'm able to change layouts, to change sources, to change destinations in the map of this supplier. It's very important because if they make you order and technician every time you have a change, that's really adding a lot of costs on top of the price that you have mentioned.
Worst case, this technician has to come physically to your site, right?
Yeah, that's the total disaster.
And you lose time and money. That's the problem.
Exactly. So if you talk to them, make sure you ask those VDA 5050 questions, and then also ask the question on whether the own fleet management system is able and open to changes by users when it comes to the layout, when it comes to sources and to destinations.
Yeah, here also I like to ask, can you show it to me in a real case, right? The well-prepared suppliers have a demo case where
Yeah.
you can just change a layout even quickly on the booth. I mean, sure, on a test system, of course, and then I'm 100% convinced. Because it's the same as with the VDA question. To say just yes is easy, but to really show it to a potential customer is a completely different topic.
Yeah, that's Champions League.
Yes.
So there is some of these providers out there who can really show you on the run. And sometimes even in this test scenario, they have built it up. But I think this
Yeah.
is very, very rare. Right?
Yes, that's Champions League.
That's really Champions League. So yeah, I'm just again circling back to what Ollie said earlier. Try to find out a customer they have. Try to talk to the customer and best visit the customer and talk about his or her experience with the hardware, but also with the software.
Exactly. At the beginning, you asked me if I'm interested in AGV or AMR.
Yeah,
If this is, should I ask this or not? And now I think another important topic, just to cover that as well, when you ask, do I have to change something in my infrastructure?
yeah,
This is much more interesting for me because maybe they are telling you we have AMRs or we have rather AGVs, but you know, it's everybody understands maybe something else.
yeah,
But to ask them what do I have to change, or even the better question would be, what did your customers had to change
perfect,
in the past when implementing your AGVs?
perfect, yeah,
Yeah, I really love this question because then they have to show what's actually happened.
yeah,
Yeah, because in the data specification sheets, you know, it's written reflectors on demand or something like that.
yeah,
Yeah, but is it 2 or is it 50 or 100? And then they should tell you something more, hopefully.
perfect. Are we ready for a summary?
Yeah, I think so. I think now we should be a little bit better equipped for our visit to the Logimat.
Yeah,
So first of all, start with day 0, check out who will be there and make a short list. Don't plan your schedule too tight.
to make sure you find some nuggets.
Exactly.
And once you're at the booth, start with the question on showing you the top 3 innovations this particular supplier have.
Yeah, exactly. Then check out, are there other customers already available? How many AGVs are in the field? Can I visit other customers? And then go on with software.
Go on with software, but before you do that, ask about the service and the
Oh, yes.
support network and the spare parts situation. Then you can also ask about the price, just to get a high-level understanding, right? And then move to software. And if you talk about software, ask about how many robots are already steered using the VDA 5050 standard, and also ask on which master control provider has already onboarded this particular vendor. And then the last one, very important,
Yes. What is it, Matthias?
it's of course, make sure that the software you get is really user-friendly. That means that the fleet management system of this particular supplier can be changed by you or your employees. So shifting sources, shifting destinations, and changing the layout.
Perfect. I think now we have a bunch of questions for the next exhibition, and try it out. We are curious what will be your experience with the sales colleagues, right? And we'll be also there on the Logimat, so we'd be happy to meet you there as well.
Totally. That would be a great pleasure. I think both of us are already excited because we love fairs, and we hope that with the help of these questions, you're also going to start enjoying it. With this, we say thank you. Hear you soon. Hear you next Monday. Take care. Tschüss and goodbye.
Bye bye.
This was another episode of the Automation Awakenings podcast. Visit us at automation-awakenings.com.